I know there's always that argument when it comes to comparing movies against each other where people always go, oh, you can't compare these two movies because they're completely different. You cannot compare them. You can't choose one over the other. But like, those same people are making like a top 10 list at the end of the year. I think that if you were in a situation, right, like a This Is Us situation, and you had to go inside your house that was burning in flames and you only had to pick one movie, you would be able to compare the two and pick one over the other. So with March having a bunch of those film brackets that I thought were pretty cool, I decided to tackle the one that was suitable for all ages, the one that most people would know, the one that would have attracted the most viewers, but the UA Ball bracket wasn't ready, so I decided to do the Disney Pixar bracket instead. And since I've been trying to make the extra Friday episode a little bit more interactive, get your guys' thoughts and feedbacks, I decided to ask the question on Twitter for this one on what your favorite Disney/Pixar movie was, in order to incorporate it to this bracket that I'm going to be breaking down. And I got your input because mine is going to be super biased. You know I like to see all perspectives of something. That's why I asked for your opinions. That's why I know you guys are going to let me know in the comments, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is a childhood one, that's what I'm going to base it off of. So let's break down the Disney side, because we got The Lion King and we got Tarzan, and I'll be completely honest with you, when it comes to the two, I do think Tarzan has the better music. Tarzan has Phil Collins freaking coming in and killing it, but The Lion King, in my opinion, does have the better characters. And I don't know if you guys have seen that picture about the upcoming live-action Lion King movie, which I'm not saying that I'm a big fan of those live-action remakes, but if they've got this crew working on it, and they got Childish Gambino and Chance working on the score, then you're going to have something better than what we saw in Black Panther and Creed, and it's going to be insane. So for the characters and the slew of music alone, I'm going to have to go The Lion King. When it comes to Princess and the Frog against Lilo and Stitch, listen, I'm not disrespecting Princess and the Frog, but I remember when that came out, I thought it was a straight-to-DVD release. Maybe I have to see it again. For those of you who have a way to defend it, let me know down below in the comments. But for me, Lilo and Stitch, bro, Lilo and Stitch had me eating sandwiches for like an entire month. Tangled versus Big Hero 6 is very easy to me because some of you know that I adore A Walk to Remember. So Mandy Moore's voice in Tangled is fantastic. I think the music is way superior than Fall Out Boy and Big Hero 6, and I'm not bashing Big Hero 6 in any way, it just never lived up to the hype to me. I think the animation is great, I think the ending is nice, I just did not care for it at all. Frozen versus Moana is probably the most interesting one of the first bracket, mainly because I'm not gonna deny that Frozen is a good movie, right? Just because it got so much attention, just because of how overplayed Let It Go was, because of Elsa Gate on YouTube, it is a good movie, the way that it plays on some tropes. There are some, moments within the film, as well as their 55-minute short film that they played in front of Coco that I don't agree with. But when it comes up to Moana's got Lin-Manuel Miranda doing the music. And just for those of you, because there are some white girls who love commenting on my videos that I'm not saying Lin-Manuel Miranda correctly, considering that's the Spanish way to say it with the pronunciation. It ain't Lin-Manuel Miranda because he ain't no freaking IKEA pamphlet. The music in Moana is probably some of the best music that's ever been put in a Disney film, and obviously it's probably because I'm biased because I love his writing style. I love the fact that half of it kind of sounds like Hamilton, but at the same time, Where You Are is probably the last Disney song that I had playing on repeat repeatedly. For Aladdin versus Hercules, I'm gonna have to pick Aladdin, even though Hercules is the originator of the what are those meme. The Little Mermaid and Pocahontas to me is very simple. I'm gonna pick The Little Mermaid because Under the Sea is one of the best Disney songs ever written. But Pocahontas, I got a little interesting story. For those of you who probably grew up in a similar household, like I did, Pocahontas, I'm already saying the name, but supposedly you weren't allowed to say the name because it was part of Disney's agenda of it actually being a spell, and that if you said the name and if you watched the movie, it was summoning spirits into your house. So I had never seen the movie until like I had gotten a bit older, so I had all this hype to it just because of, not being able to see it. The movie was so boring. And on top of that, I'm like, ain't this worse than what BuzzFeed calls whitewashing? Like, you had a dude come in and like literally just take over this. I didn't care for it at all. Between Mulan versus Zootopia, I know that Mulan gave everybody Szechuan sauce. I know that it is the original donkey. Shrek is still better, and we ain't doing a DreamWorks one, but I'm gonna have to pick Zootopia because I personally love Zootopia. I have a connection to it when it comes to my YouTube channel because it was one of my first videos that popped off. But the message in the movie alone, I think, is super interesting because everyone always covers one perspective of it, right? And it's the race style of it. But one of the most interesting perspectives of Zootopia is how people sometimes they complain about the movie and they say, oh, that character is a stereotype, not realizing that the movie never said it was. you said it was. One of the most interesting characters is this one right here because there's a moment where they play with the hair, so a lot of black people are saying, oh, that's a black character. But then it's literally also a Jewish character, and then some people were calling it an Asian stereotype because of the role that it played in the movie, and then because it did something evil, people said it was white. It's just interesting to see that it's almost a Rorschach in where people are actually the ones talking about something being a stereotype, not the movie themselves. Beauty and the Beast, I might have to pick over The Nightmare Before Christmas, even though I know that there's a lot of, hot topic shopping, Johnny Depp of the Caribbean loving, very thick eyeliner, middle schoolers that I knew back in the day who would have already finished the bracket just with this movie right here. Beauty and the Beast is my girlfriend's favorite movie, so I appreciate the art of the movie. I do think it is one of the best films that Disney has made, mainly because it was one of the ones that got nominated for Best Picture, and it was the first animation that got nominated for Best Picture, and I think that there's merit to that. Moving to the second round between Lion King and Lilo and Stitch, look, I know a lot of people love The Lion King, right? I know some people adore this movie. I would say Lion King 1.5 is better, but I know people adore The Lion King. I understand that Hakuna Matata means no worries, but Ohana means family, and family means no one gets left behind and you move to the second round. Tangled versus Moana is a pretty difficult one because, again, like I said, I love the music in Moana. I think Moana's fantastic. I think it does have better animation. But who was invited to Elsa's wedding? That's right, Rapunzel. And Rapunzel, like I said, has one of the best songs at the end, the one about seeing the lights. And like I said, yeah, maybe it's because I'm a sucker for Only Hope in A Walk to Remember. So hearing this one and Mandy Moore singing it, maybe it gets me teary-eyed just the same way. But I might have to pick Tangled. I saw both of these with my whole family when they were like opened in November, probably around Thanksgiving. I think they were both Thanksgiving releases. But Tangled's the one that stuck with me, and that's the one that I've been waiting for a sequel for a long time. I'm not looking at the animated series. I want a Tangled 2. Between Aladdin and The Little Mermaid, I'm gonna have to pick The Little Mermaid because, again, when you actually watch that story, there's some scary stuff going on. What the character is going through is terrifying. On top of that, you also have the Under the Sea song, which the moment that you just hear this, you know it's a banger. I'm picking Beauty and the Beast over Zootopia, even though I love Zootopia. I know some of you are going to say it's, because it's your girlfriend's movie. It is, but at the same time, it is. Between Lilo and Stitch and Tangled, I'm going Tangled. I think it has some of the best characters. I adore the music. This, to me, is like the epitome of what a Disney movie should be. When it comes to The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, again, I'm going to pick Beauty and the Beast. I do think Beauty and the Beast is a fantastic movie. It is great. It is very well put together. I do not like the live-action adaptation, but be my guest if you disagree and let me know down below. Finally, though, we have Tangled versus Beauty and the Beast. And you know what? I'm gonna pick Tangled. I think Tangled, as I said, is one of the best Disney movies. It is the epitome of what it needs to be. If you have not seen it, go back and watch Tangled. It lives up to the hype, in my opinion, and that's why I think it is one of the best Disney movies on this bracket that we have right here. So let's move on to the Pixar side. We have We have Toy Story versus Toy Story 2, which I think is probably one of the most interesting matchups over here because I know people adore Toy Story 2. I know that it has got that like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I know people love the story a lot more. I personally grew up with Toy Story, and it hits me a lot harder. It originates the song "You Got a Friend in Me." I think it's got some of the better memes. I just think it's a better movie in my opinion, which is why I got it moving forward. Even though the Jessie storyline is fantastic. Between Coco and Cars 3, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you're picking Coco because you're Mexican. Well, yeah, I'm going to pick the Mexican movie. But it's interesting because Cars 3 also has a Mexican lead. It's got a female Mexican lead. And honestly, I think Cars 3 is one of the I think it's actually the best of the Cars franchise. And it's practically like Creed. It's a little bit of Creed and Rocky 5 in the way that the story comes out. I actually think it's worth a watch, but it ain't going over Coco. On top of that, we have Toy Story 3 versus The Good Dinosaur. It's going to be Toy Story 3. But I will say, I know some people don't agree with me, but The Good Dinosaur, it ain't that bad of a movie, even though Arlo's an idiot. For the next one, I'm picking Ratatouille all the way because it taught children how to respect the art of culinary school and creations and rats. For the rats in New York, this was their Black Panther. It is a better movie than A Bug's Life because I'm gonna be straight. I hated A Bug's Life growing up. I utterly despised A Bug's Life, and I hated this little fat caterpillar right there because to me it was like the embodiment of that. If you know that little fat kid from Shrek Forever After who just goes,
Do the roar, do it.
To me, that was his caterpillar, and I hated it. I don't even know why I hated it so much. And when it got its little wings at the end and it couldn't even fly because it was, I hated it so much, and Ants is a better movie. Finding Nemo versus Inside Out, I know that a lot of people tweeted at me that Inside Out was their favorite. It probably got the most love. And I do think that Inside Out is a very good movie, even though there are scenes where it's like, why is she spazzing? Pixar, I know you're an animation, but the whole point that you're Pixar is because you still got to follow some logic. Finding Nemo, I've said it multiple times for those of you who follow me, it is the movie I have seen in theaters the most. I saw it 7 to 8 times in theaters, and I know to a lot of people it's gonna, the joke is that pretty much my dad would go watch another movie and like, I don't know, he was just watching the Radar movies because he was such a fantastic father, would leave me to go watch the PG one. And I remember just like watching this movie. Every time I would go to the theater, he would go see like Bad Santa, I'd see that one. And there were points where literally I would watch Finding Nemo, credits would roll, he hadn't come back yet, so it'd start up again, I'd be like, let's find this fish again. I'm picking Monsters, Inc. versus Cars mainly because of this scene right here, because of Mike Wazowski, because of that ending shot where Boo finally comes out and says, Kitty. And I think it's one of the best Pixar movies. And I even say this, again, another unpopular opinion, but I know people don't like it, but Monsters University wasn't that bad either. The Incredibles versus WALL-E. I personally would go WALL-E, mainly because I reference it so many times with the universe that it builds, but I know people love The Incredibles. I know that it's, to some people, the best superhero movie that's out there, and I think it's good. I love the twist with the villain. It is a fantastic movie, but maybe I need to rewatch both of these to really figure out which one, because I haven't seen these in a long time, and now that I'm at that age where I would say it's between being, you know, smart and an idiot, I'm like somewhere in between, maybe I would get a different outlook to it. On the next round between Up and Toy Story, again, I'm picking Toy Story. Everybody loves that beginning of Up. There's still the remainder of the movie, though. I did not care for the dog or the little boy or even the bird-looking thing, but I love every single part of Toy Story. It is my childhood. That's why it's moving on. Between Coco and Toy Story 3, believe it or not, I'm going Toy Story 3. The thing with Toy Story 3 is that it has this scene right here, the incinerator scene, which I think is the darkest I've ever seen an animation go in a Pixar movie, and that's why I have it moving on. But between Ratatouille and Finding Nemo, that was easy for me. It's going to be Finding Nemo. Between Monsters, Inc. and WALL-E, that one's easy for me too. It's going to be Monsters, Inc. But looking at this final round over here, between Toy Story and Toy Story 3, as much as Toy Story literally is my childhood, there's something about Toy Story 3. I'll explain to you, because some people know it, some people don't. The idea that pretty much it was made all those many years later, mainly because the people who grew up watching Toy Story would be going to college, would be going through the same thing of Andy, of having to give away those toys, of having to go on to college and put away their childhood now that they're entering adulthood. For those who grew up hating Sid because of all the things that he did to those toys, you get to see him as a garbage man, which is a respectable profession, but he ain't going to school like Andy was. Between Finding Nemo and Monsters, Inc., this is one where I adore Finding Nemo. Again, it is the movie that I watch most times in theaters, and maybe in another bracket, maybe on another day, I would have it going further. But there's something about Monsters, Inc. that I'm going to have it edge it out and have it go up against Toy Story 3. And actually have it beat Toy Story 3, because as much as I love Toy Story 3, as much as I adore it, I hate the Barbie sequence, the Ken sequence. I hate that sequence, but there is not a moment in Monsters, Inc. that I would cut out and shred like they did those doors in that movie. Which leads us to the finale. Disney between Pixar. We have Monsters, Inc. versus Tangled. And for me, after debating this, after thinking about it, marinating it over in my head, to me, without a doubt, the best Disney movie is Oliver and Company.
Why should I worry? Why should I care?
Thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comments section. I know that some people are going to disagree with me like crazy, and that's completely fine. I was wondering why Recess the movie wasn't in this. Why Cusco and The Emperor's New Groove wasn't in this thing, but probably that's because it would have just completely swept it. But I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on your favorite Disney Pixar movie, on what you want next Friday's your, I guess that's what I'm calling it, just attaching a your in front of it, where I ask a question on Twitter, and pretty much you guys give me your input, and I go through them, or we have like questions like this. Let me know what you want that to be about for next week. And remember that even though these brackets are fun to do, top 10 lists are fun to do, you still don't have to pick one over another, right? That's the beauty of it. I'm looking at my shelf right now, your digital library. The beauty of it is that as a film fan, you get to watch all these movies.